I am all about talking about emotions and how you feel. And
Right.
if you don't like something, please tell us.
Something that I also need to be asking myself too is, are the rooms that I'm in or not in, do they align up with any of those things?
Yeah.
Right? If you take the letters and the word listen, and you spell the word silent, it's those same letters.
It's the same letters.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Elder Perspective. My name is Glenn Davis. As you know, I'm sitting here with my co-host and guy, Cameron Macias.
Coach Cam.
We got our guest Tone in the building. Introduce him here in a second.
Hey,
Tone,
man.
Glad to be here, bro. But hey, we want to welcome you guys back to the L3 Perspective. This is a platform where we talk about life, where we talk about love, where we talk about leadership. And one of the reasons why I actually wanted to have Tone on today was really all three, man. When I think about Tone, I've known Tone for a minute. But let me toss over to Cam first before I dive back into it.
So as you guys already know, like, love, share, comment what you like, tell us what you don't like. At the end of the day, we do it for you guys. We do it for people that watch, people who want to watch, people who want to be guests. And without the critiques, without the feedback, we can't get better. And that's what it's all about. So we're looking forward to today's episode.
For sure. So we're out here in Fairfield, California, but Antonio Leaks, my guy, my bro, who I've known for, I feel like 15 years or so.
It's been a minute. It's been at least a decade.
Yeah. Tony and I actually go back a minute, man. When I say bro, like we are forever bonded
fraternally.
As brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so wanted to have him on for a number of reasons, but you were supposed to be on season 1, right? So we dived into season 2. And as Cam and I were
G's fault.
It is. But season 2, man, we were a little bit.
Here's the thing, and watch me spin this because season 1 was so great and so packed. They knew that they were going to have a banger of an episode in season 2. So it's like they'll get to me when they have the time.
Absolutely, man. But bro, I appreciate you driving down from Sacramento, California.
Indeed.
It's going to be a dope conversation. I've been looking forward to kind of introducing you and Cam for a minute, man, for a long time. But with that being said, before we even dive into the episode, tell us a little bit about who Tone is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, I just got to say congratulations on season 2.
Appreciate it.
Most people don't make it out of season 1.
Right. Right. Indeed. And here y'all are.
For sure.
So, congratulations on that. Tell y'all a little bit about myself. See the interesting stuff, the stuff that y'all want to know.
Can't tell you.
Right. Right. The stuff that's not going to get edited out. Yeah. I'm an artist in the simplest of terms, and I try to service a story or service the art in any way, shape, or form that's manifested itself in different ways, whether it's acting. Y'all know I just came here from an audition. Filming, editing. Little known fact, I don't know if you know this, I was a trained ventriloquist.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Where is the dummy? I feel cheated right now.
Yeah.
Next time, let me know. I'll bring it. I'll bring it.
Second episode.
I'll bring it. I will bring it. Long story short story shorter, in the sake of the conversation. I feel like I was always led by my creativity growing up. That went from frustration of why aren't I getting these roles to I am now doing this in the drama ministry at church or drama club at school, had a scholarship, went to the East, Link University.
Okay.
I'm not going to, there's some Cheney folks in the vicinity, so I'm just going to leave that there.
Gotcha.
Because that'll turn into a whole side combo. But there was a bit of frustration. I wanted to be a theater major, and there was no theater.
Oh, wow.
So that spawned my drive to, okay, I'm going to pick up a camera. I'm going to figure out how this button works.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell a story, even if I am not experienced in writing something or just figuring out why you need to do this to get to this point. I developed a lot of my keen sense and ability of storytelling out of a need, just because I had to adjust.
Right.
So from there, me and my friends, we were able to create the first television show for Lincoln University.
Okay.
In a Life of Tone, starring me. And we had really quick success. we knew what we had something, but at the same time, didn't realize that it was going to lead into some talks. We were having conversations with some networks.
Yeah.
We weren't ready. Deals fell through. But all that was a sign like, hey, maybe we can kind of keep going with this and pour a little bit more into that.
Yeah.
So as I came back home, I went from doing acting to now I was editing. I was being the guy that was the video guy.
Right. Yeah.
So whether that is just film your wedding, whether that is do the graduation photo shoot, whether that is let me put that short film together. I wanted to involve myself in as much creative endeavors as possible. And quite frankly, that has gotten me my state job. I press record on the day job. I do a little bit voiceover. Please hire me if you are looking.
If you need commercials done.
I will narrate your audiobook. George R.R. Martin, please finish up that last book so I can narrate it for you. And yeah, so I think the way that I define myself now, it's just as just an artist in any way, shape, or form, willing to serve others, and also just amplify voices.
Yeah. So Cam, it's funny, man, as he shares a little bit about who he is, probably one of the most humble cats I know, because he left out a slew of stuff. You know what I mean?
He left out the juicy.
One of the things one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here, aside from being my brother, is because he's super creative, right? Like super
Appreciate
creative,
that.
right? So as like a film director who produced films, you know, like that was one of the reasons I felt like in season 2, I wanted to, or we wanted to kind of bring more of as far as those creative levels, because it's so much that goes behind the success and mindset that you have. And so outside the lines, right? By the way, I'm feeling the shirt.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, let me know where I could purchase one. Right? So,
link will be provided.
Yeah. So you're the founder of Outside the Lines.
Founder of Outside the Lines.
So
yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about like that concept and what inspired you to kind of create that?
Good question. I would say Outside the Lines really just goes back to the kindergarten days. Color in. And I didn't. I just wasn't that guy. I was like, I don't know why. It's just kind of going outside. And I think similar to whether it's like Emperor's New Clothes type of mentality or just owning, being okay with your scars and imperfections, I decided to take what was something that I wanted to work on and get better at as, you know, this is actually my superpower. So I don't think or see the world in the same way that everybody else does.
For sure.
So Outside the Lines, quite frankly, just kind of represents doing things your own way, whether that is being a renegade, doing something wonderful, doing something of service. That is who you are unapologetically, whether that, you know, is the convention, the standard or not. If that's as punk rock as possible, that's Outside the Lines.
Yeah. That's something I'm battling is not the right word, because I was like this when I was younger, but my daughter, she's not built for conventional school. I was not built for conventional school. And so I have a lot of conversation. If you put her in art school, she straight A's. That's just where she's at. Like she's creative. She's dreams, all that. You put her in front of a math lesson, she's like, I can't do this. And so I try and tell her all the time is like, don't stop being you. Like just get through this school. I don't need you to get A's, and I literally just need you to do honestly the minimum, because in this conventional part, it's not who you are.
Right.
So get through this conventional part so you can be as unconventionally as you when you get older. And I was lucky enough that my mom gave me that same lesson. It wasn't said that way, but I got the lesson luckily. So as I grew up, there wasn't this like standard that I just was never going to achieve. Mom's like, just get through it, bro. Just get through it. And I promise you will be fine. And it was funny because the people who think conventionally are just like I was told by teachers, like, oh, you ain't gonna be nothing. It wasn't even necessarily you're gonna go to jail or nothing, but it was just like, you're gonna be struggling for your whole life. And I was like, you watch.
You on the list.
It's funny. As he was talking about that. As he was talking about that, I was like, immediately I thought about our kids. So between Cam and I, we have 9 kids, right?
Hella kids.
And I was just like,
kids.
Huh?
10 kids. Michael that's down in SoCal.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. 10. So we got a whole squad. But it's funny because as you were talking about that, I was just like, all of our kids are like
their own vibes.
They color outside the lines.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because society try to kind of put you in this box to hey, you need to color within the box, right? And it's funny because Cam and I, even from a leadership perspective, we encourage the hey, be who you are while coloring outside the lines, right?
Nothing illegal, immoral. Or
for sure.
Stay within the legal lines,
stay within the legal lines.
Yeah.
Well, so I say that because that's what they always tell us. Like in recruiting, they're like, you can be innovative, but just make sure you're not don't do anything illegal, immoral, or inappropriate.
Don't turn the government upside down. Do not unplug.
Yeah, exactly. You can bend
IRS.
it. You can bend it, but don't shatter it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I love it, man.
I'm super curious, just as a question, how did you react when you found out and you're kind of seeing like versions of you being reflected back at you by way of your children? It's like, that's a little me. Okay, I see where they get it from.
So I think most parents with multiple kids usually see pieces of them in each one.
Yeah.
So like, okay, this one, this kind of like this was from me.
Yeah.
So seeing one child who is like all me is. I told my mom I was sorry, first of all. I said, hey,
you were right.
I appreciate your patience. Because it takes a lot, and and I was the only child though, so I didn't have she's the middle child with her blood siblings, and so that is something that I did not have to deal with. That is a cross that she bears that I really try and mitigate as much as I can because I didn't have those like influences in my house that were like, oh, my older sister's doing really well at school and my younger brother's doing well at school. And here I am in the middle feeling like a failure. And I have to mitigate that as much as possible to like, don't focus on what they're doing because there are things that you are good at that they are not good at.
That's true.
And vice versa. So like, that is I'm having to learn a lot of lessons because I also did not have a father growing up. So not only am I learning how to be a father without a father, I'm learning to raise siblings when I had no siblings.
You did not have that example.
I'm trying to raise kids in an environment where they are in a location for longer than 2 years. I did not have that. So like, there's a lot of firsts as a parent that I'm going through, but I had a good mom. I tell people all the time, I may have not had a father and I may have moved around a lot, but I had a good childhood. I had an amazing support system. My mom's dope. And so I just take the things that I can from her and then I mold them into what I do as Cam.
And doing what you can.
Yeah, and doing what absolutely.
I can. Yeah. And they'll receive that. They will receive that. For 100%. Sure.
I've definitely never met another Cam before, that's for sure.
It's only
one-on-one.
So at the Airman's Attic today, because the Airman's Attic is this place on base where it's like a thrift store, but it's free. And you can donate stuff, but you can also go get stuff.
Okay.
And so we donate with 5 people, like everything. So we donate a lot of stuff. And I saw my jersey in there from when I was stationed in Korea. It was a softball jersey. It said Killa on the back. And I was like, oh, look, my jersey. And Taylor was like, why does it say Killa? Killa Cam, man, come on. You don't know the song?
Let's go back to the early 2000s. I'll put you on game.
I'll teach you when you get older.
Yeah, right.
So take us back to Lincoln. So you're from Cali.
I'm from Sacramento, California.
How did you end up on the East Coast?
The money. Yeah. The scholarship.
Where's Lincoln?
So Lincoln, it's always funny because I know certain people have the shared experience when you have like a 5-sentence like explainer for your college.
Yeah.
I have one of them.
Okay.
So Lincoln University is a historically Black college. It is the first historically Black college right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Okay. It's actually surrounded by nothing but Amish. So imagine an all-Black school surrounded by...
I want y'all to picture this.
Yeah. You are sharing the roads with carriages. You see the Amish at Walmart and asking yourself, why are they at Walmart? Do they have credit cards? Your entire perception of Amish. How do they pay for stuff? Cash. I've only seen them pay for stuff in cash. But there was one time I'm like, oh, wait a minute. You swipe that. So you have an account.
Are those wooden coins?
Right. Exactly. Why can't I just make one of those myself then? Yeah. But they have great food. I was
going to say, I bet the food around with all the ingredients from the Amish.
Oh yeah,
probably
I was like 40 pounds lighter a freshman year. Forget a freshman 15. Yeah, no. So Lincoln is a great experience. The HBCU experience was a great one. Highly recommend it for anybody who is young, hopeful, looking for the next stage in their lives. But that left a mark on me. The network that I have created, the camaraderie, the family. It was a group of creatives, group of people that were just doing what they wanted to do for geographical reasons. Ain't nothing else to do. Because I mean, you're just going to be out there in the fields, you know, just like running into Amish people. Yeah. So it was a unique experience. It wasn't the same as a college town. Sure. The college was the town.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because like a lot of times, so being from Philly, like I didn't come across a lot of folks from Cali. Yeah. So when I moved to Cali, and
you spent so much time in Cali now?
What'd you say?
You spent so much time in Cali now?
I know, half my military career.
You wear Vans and stuff?
Yeah. I got a nice blend. So I got, you know, I have the Vans and then I switch it up with the Timbs, right? So I can never
I never seen him wear Timbs. I just want to point that out.
That's funny.
But yeah, so coming to Cali, like I'd never heard a lot of Cali folks that like lived on the East Coast for a short period of time. So that was I think that was really one of the initial things that connected me with you when I first met you. You know, when I found out you was about that. Then when you were in the film and directing, and then speaking of that, so you've directed several short films.
I have. So I have, as it stands, 2 that are publicly available and can be streamed. Okay. Unbeknownst is available on Amazon Prime.
We'll put the links on in the things.
Yeah. And another short film that you and your family were so gracious to help me with.
Yeah, that was dope. That was 2009, 12.
When I put it out, let's say it's 2017.
Okay, gotcha.
I think. Yeah. When it was filmed, that might have been a different situation.
It's all good. Creativity takes time.
It sure does. So. It sure does. So I feel like with the theme of my short films, I guess I am that art house director. I am that avant-garde kind of person. Yeah. Not that I'm aiming to be,
for sure,
but you know, that unbeknownst film, it's a silent film. Yeah. And it's kind of told from 3 different sides of the story. If you have seen, and I know I'm talking to somebody who, never mind, I'm not gonna, if you have seen,
let me turn this way.
The Last Duel. It was a Ridley Scott film. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. The way it's constructed, it tells a perspective of what the truth is from 3 different perspectives. Okay. That's like my easiest example of how my story is constructed.
Okay.
Thank you. It was. So no words, but I mean, you can see it and identify. Yeah. Pace, you know, was something that you did hear somebody talking. Yeah. But I did not want to show anyone's face at all. And I kind of just set it up as a challenge. Can you relate to somebody with only seeing, you know, quite frankly, their feet? Yeah. And can you follow with the journey of their life, with the pace that they're going, and still be emotionally attached to characters? I would say that experiment paid off. But I always look at film as a way to challenge and experiment with different ideas, see how that pans out. Is that something that works or not? And pushing the boundaries of just what conventional storytelling is.
Yeah. That's dope.
Thank you.
How long on average do you spend preparing for what you're about to film?
Oh, wow.
So this is something I'm trying to get better at. I talked to G about this. Yeah. I am, so like you said earlier, although I am the Cam gets it done guy, I'm also the like Cam will get it done last minute guy. Yeah. Or Cam will just turn on the camera and be like, we gonna make it work. So my personal challenge has been to be more preparatory about things. And especially going into 2024, not only with like the podcast, but personal content and things like that, like really getting better about the preparation and the is it the foresight? Is that the right word? Anyways, but like the pre-thinking of like, how am I going to film this? What angles do I want? Stuff like that. And obviously I know it's nothing direct, you know, I'm not doing a Toyota commercial or nothing, but I want things to have quality to it. And I know that quality comes from the work that's done prior, before ever even shooting anything?
Absolutely. I feel like it kind of depends. I know that's not like the easiest answer, the quickest answer.
Right now,
I know.
So I was say, expecting a checklist. You're like, you can buy it $19.99.
Right. Yeah. So here are the 5 things you do. All it takes is do 1, 2, and 3 within 2 months. Here you go. I feel like preparation, obviously, that is the best way to do it. But what it is you're preparing for, sometimes you know exactly what that is. Sometimes you're capturing lightning in a bottle and you just have to prepare the cup to maybe capture it, you know?
Lightning in a bottle.
So, maybe we'll get some lightning.
That would be dope.
Maybe not. Hopefully this is where we, put in some lightning right here. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So, with that, sometimes it is just ripping the Band-Aid off. Other times it is like, this thing needs to take its time. But the preparation, you are going to reveal to yourself, what is the next step? I think oftentimes with creativity, and this is the way my perspective is, ideas for the most part, they're not our own. Like they belong to the world, and it's up to us to usher it into the world. Yeah. So, in terms of shepherding that into the world, like, how do you do that? It is, if it's something very finite and direct, record this podcast. Do the things. Do the things. And you know what the things are. But if you're kind of boldly going where no man has gone before, you have to at least take a step in that direction and maybe find out by way of reduction, maybe that isn't working for me. So there are times where, so to answer that question for my films, there's some times where it's very straightforward. I do this, I record this, I have the shot list, 1, 2, and 3, knock it out. I have a project that has been also 3 years in production right now, just because it's a process of finding out maybe that actor doesn't work out, or maybe we need to just kind of rewrite this. Maybe this needs to be repurposed from a series to a feature film. So I think it all depends. In short,
Well, so go ahead.
So remember I was talking about, I had that Zoom with John Gordon. So one of the things he talked about was one of his books, he wanted to turn it into a movie. And he had been through 3 screenplays. $60,000 later. Didn't like any of them. So he's like still searching for what that screenplay that's really going to speak to what the book and the story is supposed to be about.
For those who don't know John Gordon, have never heard of him, he's one of the he is the author of one of the books, The Energy Bus. So phenomenal book.
And The One Truth is one of his.
That's the one. Okay.
That's the bigger one. That's one of his. That's his second big one that he's trying to push out now.
Yeah. That's the one that with the screenplays.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'll be honest. He's written like 14 books.
I was telling Cam the other day. So The Energy Bus. I remember. Actually, I was in Sacramento years ago when I first seen The Energy Bus in Barnes and Nobles. And I was like, I always wanted to buy, like the cover of the book, like really grabbed my attention. And it's funny that it was years later, the first time I read the book, it was the kids' version of The Energy Bus. So Darren, who's now 10, I think he was probably 5 or 6 at the time when I read the book to him. But it's super dope, dope concept.
Look into that.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely one that I recommend.
I want to spin that question back on you two, because whether you realize that you're creatives or not, you guys are. So even just in terms of what it is that you do, so I definitely you identify as a creative.
My facial expression is creative.
It's already there. You wear the name tag and everything.
So my mom says. So since I was younger, I always had all the confidence in the world. And people always ask, like, what made him him? And she's like, I don't know. I think he like sucked all the confidence out when he was born. And so like I used to hit on her friends. I was like 6 years old, like, yo, leave your boyfriend, be with me.
You was pulling up from full court.
It was a wrap.
Just chucking that up there.
What you do? Always been kid.
I'm sure they remember that too. No, but I'm curious as far as you guys know, what has been a process that has worked that you can see like, okay, I do want something right now. It's just an idea right here. And then looking back at it when it's taken full flesh and been manifested, what has worked on what has been the process. And just for myself, I'm a life learner. So I'm not going to say what this is the way, but it is a way.
Yeah, for sure. I would say for me, like, I identify I am an idea person, right? So constantly have different visions. And so when you talk about like the process, I will say it's easy for me to go into a creative mode. Most times it's easy for me to get into a very creative mode. Sometimes it takes me, 10, 15 minutes to get to that space. But once I'm there, I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that helps me with the execution piece of it is connecting with other good people, connecting with other visionaries and creatives who are executors. So one of the things I was telling you that I like about Cam is that when I met him, he's an executor, like with a lot of things, right? He's an executor, and even Tegan, right? Her and I are idea people, and we have so many ideas on the whiteboard. The L3 perspective was an idea on the whiteboard that sat for years, 3 years, almost 3 years, and connected with Cam, who's an executor. We weren't even talking about the podcast. It was as I'm walking out of his door at his house. I forgot.
I think I was telling you I wanted to get because I had a podcast before.
Okay.
And I was telling G, I said, because I think he might have asked me something, kind of that same question. I was like, man, I've been trying to get back into podcasting, but after what the first podcast, the lessons I learned from that, there are certain criteria that have to be met for me to get back into the game. Yeah. And then he told me about his idea.
I was at his crib we were talking about finances. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were talking about
he was finances
and what the next 10 years look like, next 10, 15 years look like. Like I said, as I was walking out the door, brought that. So kind of the circle back, I would say the connected piece is finding individuals who share the same values, but not only that, but they're executors. Because so many people toss around ideas around the table and they just sit there, right? And so for me, like I said, the idea piece or the vision piece is pretty simple and easy. Yeah. But the execution piece is where it could be challenging. So for me, I know it's important for me to be around other thorough people who are executors, really just one executor at the table, but other people who are creatives. Like and that's why I love the concept of outside the lines. Like I've always loved that concept because it's like, that's a space where I feel like in the box, you can be kind of creative, but it's when you color outside the lines where you could flourish.
There's a collab coming. Just watch.
Oh yeah, for sure. And even like this one. So from IUL to LLL. That's how that happened.
For sure. Bro, that's
y'all can have that.
We got it.
Y'all can have
yourselves.
But you see how ideas just popped up.
For sure.
Yeah, just like that. I think it's awesome how ideas happen in terms of executing. The other question I have, and I know this guys are interviewing me, but I'm just having a conversation.
It's not an interview. It's a conversation.
It is a conversation.
That was something intentional that we wanted to do too.
Got you.
Because we found it was like kind of like, oh, tell us about the
next question. Next question. I'm ready for the next question.
Everything was organic, but it was just like question after question, and like the concept from the beginning, we were just like, we wanted to be organic. We wanted to have a conversation. We wanted to feel like a conversation because there's so many lives and things that could be shifted just from a conversation and the words. So, but go ahead.
No, indeed. No, because as opposed to me thinking about the right thing to say for the next round, I got that out. Let me get ready for the next response.
For sure.
In terms of the executing, how do you guys feel about the idea, but also just the process of failing forward and, figuring out things that don't work or, publicly figuring out that, hey, I need to just eat that. This was not successful, but also it's a lesson learned and going towards, and that kind of being part of the process sometimes. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
I take them on the chin all day.
Yeah.
I honestly, I will switch something up and not give two thoughts to it being switched up.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that, so that's one of those things too. I always tell my mom always apologizes to me for how many schools I went to. She's like, I'm really sorry. We never set down roots. I know it was hard on you. And I don't think I've ever been upset with her about it. And even as I've gotten older, I've always told her I'm actually very appreciative of it. Although there are the negative things I could concentrate on. I can walk into a room and talk to anybody now.
Yeah.
I can go to an organization and help identify things that no one else can identify because they've been there too long. I can pick up and move and not give it a second thought.
Yeah.
And all that comes from that constant amount of change. So even with the podcast, like we talked about earlier, from black, satin backdrop on a kitchen table to just the progression, and not saying we should really just keep all this good until the next one. No, I want it to go from black satin to all of a sudden $5,000 camera to the next thing. I don't care if people see, that's the whole point of it. Or when you were saying about the light might be off with the cameras.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
Like last time I checked, I'm not, a billionaire.
Right.
I chop this shit up.
Yeah.
So,
there's no need for a ring light.
Like, so like when people think that we have this huge crew because we make it look easy.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's like, no, it's just that every time we do something, we look at it and say, okay, what could we have done better? It wasn't a failure. What lesson was learned from this previous episode now?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I think that's it. It's the failing forward, like being willing to take the risk, right? And we know as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as leaders, as being in the military, like it's about taking those risks. Whether you're taking those risks in Afghanistan or you're taking them in Cali, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that it becomes easier when you're used to, again, going back to the idea piece, when you're used to just executing on ideas and seeing that idea didn't work or that project didn't work. Okay, what lesson learned? So Cam and I, almost every time that we do either an event, we have a speaking engagement together, like we come back and we're talking about, okay, how can we improve? Like what would we have done differently? And so it's a constant, we're constantly trying to push the envelope and expand our minds, our vision, our brand, like just everything all the way around. So I say all that to say that him and I are not afraid to fail.
There you go.
Because we know we got a dope team.
I mean, overcoming that fear, because that's like a huge block for
sure.
Creatives, business people, anybody. That fear of failure, constantly pushing through. That's gonna get you like miles and miles ahead of the folks who
bring the GoPro.
Who are
this is a part of it. We have a crew.
Yeah. This is our one of our videographers, our event videographers.
Say hi, dude.
The camera right there. That one. Right there.
Whichever one you want. So look, this is how you change it. It's a lesson right now. You guys see. That's how you change it. The little mode right here. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, hook it up.
Man. Thanks, D.
Who I also shout out was also a co-star in one of my films. So there's that.
Yes.
Boom. He's been working.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, real quick, while we're on that, Cam, I was telling you a little bit about this. Tone took time to, so Darren has been interested in like film directing and just coming up with concepts and again another creative who colors outside the lines.
All the videos you see of someone following G, that's Darren.
Yeah, that's my guy. He's hired on staff now. But Tone took him under his wing to mentor him and coach him. And we did, I don't know, it was a handful of sessions. Every Sunday, Tone would carve out 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And they would have a Zoom interview, right? Or not a Zoom interview. They would have a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
And Tone was just mentoring him from the concept and the coaching of what it takes to create a film, right? So Darren was just like, I have this concept. I want to execute this film on Netflix. Like what do I do? Yeah. And that's one of the things. So publicly, bro, I just want to say that I appreciate you taking Darren under your wing, kind of coach, mentor, guide, lead him, man. And I think that when we talk about leadership, that's one of the things that we want to continue to highlight and praise those leaders who are taking the next generation under their wing to kind of execute, man, because we were talking about accountability partners earlier with him. Bro, I tell you, almost once a week, he'll be like, hey, have you talked to Tone yet? It's been like 8 months, but we got to get back on.
You got to counter him.
Yeah, that's a big thing, too. Like, when you're talking about, you got to find people that are just bluntly honest with you. Yeah. Like we talked about, so we took a break because we needed a break after season 1.
For life.
Yeah, recoup, strategize, and so as we're coming back, it's like, okay, well, when do we want to come back out? And I said, hey, let's just start new year. Yeah. And Glenn was like, I would like to start December. And I said, okay, well, if you're going to start December, then you got to get the guests you told me you're going to get.
One of the things like that are Cam and I are good at is like not only talking about ideas, but hey, this is what we need to do in order to execute. Yeah. Right.
And like not being personal about it. Like we're boys, we're making this happen. Just like if I want to do something, he's like, you need, like, if it's a financial thing, I'm like, oh, I want to do this. He's like, but you didn't do that. In order to do,
X.
And I feel like that's really when you can that's when you have your the right team. Yeah, is when there's just like this autonomy of transparency where no one's feelings gets hurt. It's real, and it's like, and then it's being honest too. Like when we took a break, I was like, we should just take a break. I know we were both scared to say it. We just like, take a break.
It was perfect timing. we had so many projects going on.
And it was summer. I got 5 kids. It
was a lot. It was a lot. But we back.
But you back. Yeah, and that's definitely needed because that'll also show in the podcast episodes. You guys are like, welcome. Life and the other else.
Yeah.
Here we are. Yeah. So that's definitely needed. 100%. Mm-hmm. Have to take that break. I had a podcast for a while, and I would say have a podcast, but even just our creative relationship, me and my homie Justin on and on, we are looking into other creative endeavors, but we definitely had to be honest with each other, transparent. It's like, hey man, what we're doing, is this how we still want to continue to do this?
Yeah.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
Do you feel okay with this, or are we going through motions?
Yeah.
And maybe, this was a success for where it stands for right now.
Yeah.
We can always go back to it. We can use this experience to make something completely new.
Yep.
And that is not an L in any way, shape, or form.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, when I started my first podcast, it was during COVID with my best friend. Like, we talked about it on a Friday, and I had a mic at his house by Monday.
See?
So I'm that guy. So he was like, oh, you were dead ass. And I was like, I don't talk if I don't mean it. Like, that's
I'm
just
walking before I'm talking.
So I already had our first 3 guest book. Like, it was a thing. And it was great until people started going back to work. And then he got really busy. And I was like, yo, man. And then he stopped showing up because he got busy, which I understood because he was in the military full time. And my schedule wasn't the same. Yeah. And so I was like, hey man, we just got to cut it off because it's no fun.
No.
I was like, I'm showing up and I'm like, oh, bro, I'll be here, 5 minutes. And then he didn't show up and I was like, I'm sorry. And so then I would try and talk about stuff, but it's not as fun. I feel like the one-on-one. That's why I told G2, like, I never wanted to do another podcast alone. I wanted to do it with someone who shared the same energy as me and who was in the same time zone too. Cause that was another thing. He was in Miami. I was in Cali. So then you got time zone, work, all types of things. And although it was great, it wasn't sustainable. And so that's why, like, once again, when we talked about it, I was like, there are certain parameters and we just happen to find these parameters together.
Yeah. Because this podcast is more like a digital form of hanging out. And so a lot of people who listen to these, we want to hang out with these people. So if you have somebody who is on a different time zone, it's like, yes, we can hang out, but I'm ready to go.
You go there, you go there, you go. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I got my pajamas on, so we can hang out. But I mean, like, we over in like a couple minutes.
Exactly.
I definitely hear that.
So what's next outside the lines? What's next for you, or what projects are you working on right now that you care to share?
Yeah. So as far as outside the lines, I'm still continuing to try and see if I can push the boundaries of what storytelling is, without sharing too much. I actually want to try to explore different mediums or just things that we use every day and see if that is a medium for a story. I don't know, Instagram carousel. Can I tell something, whether that is a story, whether that's just something visual? Can I do something maybe stop motion? Since we are scrolling up and down, can that simulate a flip book in any way, shape, or form? Are there particular things? I'm just stay on Instagram for
too many juice.
I'll give you one more. I'll give you one more. As you are on somebody's page,
this has now become a workshop,
right? Do not steal any of these ideas. As you're on the Instagram feed and you're going on somebody's feed, maybe if you were to kind of like go back and forth between the different carousels of different pictures, does that simulate maybe like a combination lock? Can I play with that to maybe say something? So I'm trying to work with the different mediums to just try to tell something interesting and captivating. Because ultimately, all these stories, all these podcasts that we're doing, we're capturing experiences. So I want to see if I can create unique experiences. For sure.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Absolutely.
So along those lines, like from a director's perspective, or not even from a creative perspective, what advice would you give anyone that's even looking to jump into that creative space? And I know that's creative is so loose, right? It could be in whatever field, but as a creative, like, what advice would you give someone who wants to become better at being a creative?
I feel like we kind of touched on a lot of the points already. Overcome that fear of failure, or if you don't, just do it anyway. Do it anyway, and be okay to just wear whatever that looks like. Because a lot of the folks who we revere as the Stanley Kubricks and the Spielbergs and all these Scorseses, they made crappy stuff.
Oh, for sure.
They made crappy
They
stuff.
have got bad reviews before.
They have got bad reviews before. Yes. So don't let a outside opinion influence what it is that you're trying to do. Do it anyway.
Yeah.
Don't let the destination mindset influence you. Once enjoy the journey. Once I get that camera, once I do this, once they see me, once this is finally done, enjoy the journey. Because I feel like a lot of people need to understand the artist it's just a way of being without being too esoterical and all that type of stuff. Just if you are an artist, like you're always going to create art in some way, shape or form, whether it is, a sculpture or a macaroni picture. Sure. You're going to appreciate that macaroni picture just as much as, the Sistine Chapel, because that was your macaroni picture. Mm-hmm. And who knows, get that thing appraised. Next thing you know, you might have a house paid for with the macaroni pictures. Yeah. So if you get that house paid with some macaroni pictures, like cut me a check. Just saying. But yeah, get over that fear of failure, do it anyway, and enjoy the journey.
So as we wrap up, time for commercial.
Time for a commercial, yes.
He's been waiting. That's the big, so to show our appreciation for anybody that comes on our podcast, we make sure we want them to promote themselves. Self-promotion is welcomed on this.
Appreciate that.
As we wrap up, tell people not only where to find you, but like how to work with you.
You can find me on socials, which I haven't been in about a year, but I'll respond.
Talking about flip books, anyway.
I know, right? Because I'm still working on all these ideas. Yeah, I'm a work in progress. At Storyteller Tone, by way of, we still use Twitter, Threads, X, Threads, Instagram. Find me that way. I would love to connect with you. As far as things that you can participate and join in on the creative process, we do have a team of mine. We are creating a fictional sci-fi HBCU based film that can also exist as a television show. Quick pitch on that. So I got somebody that bought into the idea. I'm for it. Right. As of right now, it's called First 54, and essentially answering the question what if we had to wrestle with the spirits of the past? What if it wasn't up to the institution? What if it wasn't up to the folks that we think are going to save the day, but the fate of the world rests in our youth? So if you would like to see how that story pans out, feel free to tap in more with me. I would love to give you some links and send you where you can help kickstart and enjoy that, contribute to that campaign fund. Yeah.
That's what's up.
I think that's about it for me. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
That I can share right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, bro, I love you.
Oh, likewise, man.
For sure. I'm very appreciative of your time and everything that you're doing for creatives to create another platform for the next generation of creatives. And I'm excited to see what your next chapter looks like.
Oh, man.
We'll be connecting for sure.
Collaborating
on future projects. And you have my full support, bro.
Oh, likewise.
So, thank you.
That goes both ways, man.
For sure.
Definitely. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Season 2.
Yes.
Yet another one.
We appreciate y'all. Like, love, share, comment. Do it.
Subscribe.
Other than that, appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all later. Peace.